Welcome to Vegan Business Talk with Katrina Fox, author of Vegan Ventures, Start and Grow an Ethical Business. Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Vegan Business Talk. I'm Katrina Fox, journalist, media trainer and editor of veganbusinessmedia.com, the multimedia blog providing success tips for vegan business owners and entrepreneurs. In this episode, I interviewed Donna Zeigfinger from Green Earth Travel, a travel agency in Maryland specializing in ethical and eco-friendly vacations. Travel has been in Donna's blood for decades, and she's combined her passion with business, working for various travel companies since the 1980s before launching Green Earth Travel in 1997. Since then, it's become a leading vegetarian, vegan and eco-travel agency in the US, featuring in several prominent media, including the New York Times and Washington Post. The company focuses predominantly on volunteer vacation packages and adventure travel. Whether it's a weekend or several weeks, Donna works closely with clients to deliver a customized trip. These range from individual packages to group tours, and services include booking airline tickets and hotels, along with advice and support if there are any problems. Green Earth Travel's mission is to make it easier for vegetarians and vegans to eat while travelling to their dream destinations, and to enable people to travel in a sustainable way as possible. Donna, who works from home with a small remote team, has also teamed up with Vegan Travel Club to produce tours of Italy featuring vegan health and culinary experts. In this interview, Donna discusses the importance of experience and expertise as a service provider to build trust with potential clients, the best type of content to share on social media that's guaranteed to get the most engagement with your brand, the relevance of offline marketing methods such as festivals to generate leads, what small business owners and solopreneurs can do to stand out, particularly from the bigger brands in their industry, and much more. Here's the interview with Donna Zeigfinger from Green Earth Travel. Hello, Donna. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, very good.
Or I should say good evening to you.
Yes, it is. We're on opposite ends of the time zone. Yeah. And I understand you've just done the busy New York Veg Fest, which I hear was pretty amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. It was packed on Saturday. It was totally packed. Sunday wasn't quite as packed, but it kind of gave us a breather. But it was very busy all weekend. It was great.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. Well, tell me about your reasons for doing Green Earth Travel, because you've been doing it for a long time now. So what's your why?
Well, I've been vegan since 1982, I think. I always forget.
Wow. And
I was working at an animal shelter for a few years, and then I decided to get into the travel business around 1985. And when I did, I had a lot of vegan friends, and they, at that time, were very loyal. People were loyal back in those days, and they would send all their friends to me, and it kind of took off from there. So vegan travel has been around for a long time. People just don't know about it.
That's right. I'm surprised, actually, that it's been around that long time. And I mean, I'm assuming your customer base has increased a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Since it first came around.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to get my, now you get everything by email and Facebook and, anything online. When people owned like a vegan bed and breakfast or a vegan property back then, they would mail me letters that would take a month to get there. And tell me.
So you mentioned you were working in an animal shelter. What made you go, before doing Green Earth Travel, what made you get into the travel business?
I think it was time. I had been working with animals for about 15 years. I was a dog groomer before that. And I was just ready to do something I really enjoyed. And traveling was it. Loved traveling. And so that's why I got into it.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit, what exactly does Green Earth Travel do, and has it evolved over time?
Well, we are a full-service travel agency. So yes, we're not the elevator man that's gone away. We're still around. We help with booking hotels and booking airfares when possible, tours and packages. You know, a package is something that we put together just for you. A tour would be with a group. We do everything. What travel agents used to do and still do. And we give advice. And that's the key word. And the key word is support when things happen. So, if your flight is in trouble, you call us and we're there to help you get you on the next flight, or, the hotel is horrible. We'll get you into another hotel room right away. So that's what we're there for.
And obviously you've got the focus on vegan, vegetarian and eco travel and ethical travel, of course.
That's correct.
So what percentage approximately of your clientele are vegan and seek you out, because you're a vegan travel company compared with non-vegans?
I would say 60, maybe 70, 75% are vegans.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a pretty high percentage.
Right.
Cool.
A lot of the rest are family and spouse.
Right. Got it. Of the vegans, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, right. So very much keeping it in the community. That's interesting.
Yes.
What was I know you started up a long time ago, Donna, but what were some of your key challenges when you first started up the company?
Well, again, we didn't have, when I went off on my own, which was 1996, I used to work for a travel agency, and I had picked up a lot of vegan clients from the 80s to the mid-90s, but then when I went off on my own, it was a little bit of a challenge because while the internet was there, it wasn't like it is now, so it was all word of mouth. I did get in a few newspapers, and I was in Vegetarian Times and the Washington Post, and that helped me a lot, but it was really getting the word out there. And it still is. I still have people who don't know that I'm out there or that there is such a thing as vegan travel.
Right. And so would you say, how have the challenges changed over the years as you've grown as a business and become more well known? Well,
the internet has changed it a lot. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that you can see me out there. If you put in Green Earth Travel or Vegan Travel Agent, I'm right there. So people are finding me that way. The bad thing is the internet, because people think they can do it on their own, which might be the case. It might not be the case, but they're not going to have the support that they have with me.
Right. I wondered whether that had an impact, because obviously people go online to maybe book short-term flights. But I know, like, if I'm going international, I'll still go into a travel agent. So
right.
So it hasn't really impacted your business as much then, you would say?
It has and it hasn't. And, some of it is people take my advice and then they go online and search themselves and book it. They think they're going to get it cheaper, and they're not. And the difference is if things go bad, they don't have anybody to go to. Even if they go on to the big, tour, agencies like, I won't say their names, but, the big online agencies, they might have the support, but it's not usually as personable. They don't have a name to go to. And, yeah.
Got it. So, Donna, how many have you got staff? Like, is it mainly you, or do you have staff? What's your situation?
It's me as the agent and the owner. I do have a few people that I have somebody who does my website. I've got somebody who helps me. She started as an intern. She's also now my blogger, and she does my newsletter and a few other things. She'll come in when I need help for a festival. And I am working with Vegano Italiano, so we're kind of partnering up. So that helps a lot. And I have an outside agent who books, just regular cruises. I've known her since high school. So.
Great. So you've got a team.
Yeah, small team, but yeah.
Cool. And that's helped your business grow?
Yes.
Having a team
absolutely. All of them have.
Great, great. So I was going to ask you in regards to competition, about how you go about standing out both within the vegan business arena and outside of it. I don't know how much competition you do have in terms of vegan travel. Is there a lot of competition in your area? And if so, how do you go about standing out?
There's no other vegan travel. Well, there are vegan travel agents. I've had people come and go throughout the years. There's maybe one right now, but she does cruises, and I don't do a lot of cruises. And I don't find her as competition. I find her as a friend, actually, an acquaintance more than anything. So I don't see it as a competition at all. Because we do totally different things. I do independent tours, and I do group land tours, and she does cruises. And so I don't find it a problem. And there were a couple other companies, but they're no longer. You have to really know your niche and really know how to push it.
Right. And obviously travel is a very specialized industry.
Right.
Yeah. But particularly ethical travel, even more so. You're kind of like a niche within a niche.
Right.
And it's interesting you say that about competition and this other person's a friend, because there's a lot of talk around, not actually worrying about competition or even seeing other businesses as competitors, but more collaborators.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I actually was talking about this weekend, because I don't know if you know the tour company. Well, okay, so first off, the tour company I'm working with is Tierno Tours, and we're doing vegan Italy trips, which we can talk about later. And there's also another tour company called Veg Voyages, and they do Asia. And I actually saw them this weekend at the Green Festival. I was also at the Green Festival in D.C. on Friday. And we talked about maybe doing some festivals where we all three had booths. And I was even thinking I'd incorporate the person who does the cruises if she was interested. I think if we had like 4 tables, I think that would be a huge presence to do something like that.
Right. And have a kind of vegan travel section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think 4 heads are better than one, don't you?
Absolutely. It's interesting you say that. I went to a a trade expo for the natural and organic sectors here in Sydney the other day, and a group of small businesses all banded together, and they had the second largest stall, and they just called it the vegan marketplace, and then they each had their individual stalls, and they got a lot of traffic because of that. So it really worked out that they pulled together. So definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So in terms of marketing then, and marketing and PR, I ask this to everybody, but what are your thoughts on the word vegan in your marketing materials on your website and the prominence of the word, and has that changed over the years?
I know a lot of people like to say plant-based. I think of that as just a diet. I don't have a problem with saying vegan. I mean, I grew up with it basically, because I've been vegan for more than half my life. So I'm very proud to be a vegan.
Awesome. And I guess the fact that you have a large percentage of your clientele is vegan, that works.
Yeah, but I get a lot of non-vegans that want to go on these, vegan trips, and they don't have a problem with that word. They don't blink. They think it's going to be healthier food when they go away, and it is. Right.
Cool. And what current marketing strategies do you use at the moment, and which do you find most effective?
Newsletter is probably the number one. And I don't get it out as much as I should. I get it out like once a month, but there's kind of that fine balance. Like if you do it like 2 or 3 times a month, I find that people start dropping off. So I have to be careful with that. But newsletter is a good one. I do Facebook a lot. Probably more than anything. I have an account that's linked to my Facebook for Twitter, but I don't think I'm handling. I have to change that style because it's just linking my Facebook pages, and it's not an actual personal Twitter post that I'm doing. I don't know if, so that one's not as effective. Although I do notice that people will retweet something that I say, and that does kind of take off. But whether I've gotten bookings from it, I don't think I have. If anything on internet through social media, it's been Facebook. And this new thing called Blab and Periscope is another one I started doing. I'm not sure if you know what Periscope is.
Yeah, I do.
It's kind of a very informal way of getting out and talking to your people directly. And, I had it at the New York Veg Fest, and it was a great way. In fact, the person that, one of my followers, is from Australia. And, he was able to get on and watch the whole Veg Fest, because I just brought him around to all the different vendors. So, and then of course, when we go away, we do a Periscope too. So they get to see where we're going. And the Blab is a great way because I, have vegan, travel bloggers, and, I'm going to start having some vegan hotels come on and talk with us, and hopefully you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and are you seeing like a return, like business wise, either in terms of whether it's just general brand awareness or, actually generating leads or sales?
I think it's more awareness. I mean, especially the festival. And the other thing is the festivals. We get a lot of people that sign up for our newsletters and come and talk with us at the festivals. I'd like to have that one-on-one with people, which is why I started the Blab as well. I like to be able to chat with people. The festivals are great. So, if you can bring me back to the question again.
Yeah, it was about what current marketing strategies that you use. And I like the fact that you've mentioned an offline one as well, because that is important. Like you say, that in-person one-on-one.
Yes, it's very important. I actually like it. I mean, I'm always exhausted after it. Like I could use a 2-day vacation now, but it's fun to go and talk to people and see people that and remind them that we're still here.
Exactly. And in terms of Facebook, do you use like paid Facebook advertising, like for particular tours, or do you just use more organic kind of posts? And what kind of posts would you put on Facebook? Because it can be difficult for people to engage with businesses unless they're providing fun, interesting, and entertaining content.
I do a little bit of both. I have done the paid, and I don't honestly think it's really panned out for me that much. I mean, it does get more awareness out there, so that's a good thing. Whether I've gotten, my ROI or whatever they call it, I haven't seen that. Now, what I find interesting is, and I'll post all my tours, and I get people to like the tours, and sometimes they'll chat on it a little bit. Where I see the most interaction, and one of the biggest ones I had recently was an article about how Costa Rica has stopped hunting. So when you start putting things like countries are doing this, and especially when it comes to animals, any photos or videos of animals are always a big thing. Always a big thing.
True. Yeah.
But I always post things that what the airlines are doing, and I try and do it vegan related, although it's not always that way. Like if you need your passport, get your passport now, how far in advance you need to get it, what's the best way to get your best fares. I'll put that stuff on there, but I'll also put in there things like when SeaWorld was happening, that whole, and, when Ringling Brothers, instead of going to the circus, why not go to a sanctuary, or why not go to Africa instead and see the real thing? And I know not everybody can afford that, but at least it gives them something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they can, remember it or share it and let their networks go. So that's great. I like the fact that like you say, it's so true about the animals. You can pretty much put any kind of animal up, but it's on there. But I love the way you relate that back to your business, and you also take maybe a current news hook and put it on there to keep people engaged.
Oh yeah. So, and the one from Costa Rica that I just put up on Friday, I think was one of the biggest ones I've ever had. I had something like 50 shares. I've never had like that many shares. Usually I'll get like a couple hundred, maybe 50 likes and 100 views, but 50 shares is a lot. So.
Fantastic. That's great. Now you mentioned, I think earlier, you've been featured in the media, particularly when you started out.
Right.
And I assume as well as you've gone on. How important do you think that's been in terms of raising your brand awareness or getting bookings? Well,
back then that was extremely important. In the same month, I think it was, Vegetarian Times at that time was the big newspaper, and it still is. There's still big presence there. But it was like the premier vegetarian newspaper at that time. And they did an article about me, and then the Washington Post had come in and interviewed me as well. And back then, the Washington Post, again, it was a big thing, and they still are, but they're just not as big as they once were. I mean, they were the only thing going at that time. They both came out the same month, and I didn't know what month they were coming out. I was away on my honeymoon when it happened. So when I came back, I had like over 50 phone calls to return.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of grew. And what was interesting is back then, people would rip out the articles and hold on to them for years. So for at least 10 years, maybe, I'd have people calling me saying, I saw you in the Washington Post.
Oh, wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
that kind of helped. The other thing that helped was, 1989, 1990, I became the official travel agent for the March on Washington for the Animals. I don't know if you ever heard about that.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and I brought in something like 3,000 people to the DC area. So that actually was the jumping board for me. Because people then remembered me, even though it was a lot of work and little pay, they remembered me and they came back to me when they wanted to do their vacations. And then I did it again in 1995. So that was the year after the two articles were written.
Right. That's great. And so what's interesting, I think, about you as well as your personal ethics are really infused with your business.
Right.
Because some people I've interviewed, they're kind of like not kind of so much. But so it's really interesting that you're able to easily infuse the two. Well, so with your clients, the majority of the clients are they individuals, say, as opposed to companies or other businesses or corporate?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So are your clients mainly kind of individuals that book through you, or do you work with other businesses, other corporates, for example?
I used to work with more corporates than I'm doing right now. I was the travel agent for the Humane Society of the United States for many years, and also PETA and a few other corporations. That kind of fizzled out when the internet happened, or, when they grew to the point where they needed like a large travel agency to take care of their stuff, which is fine. That was fine. I do have somebody else who's come back and started using me, so that's good. But it's mainly independence. I get a lot of honeymooners.
Okay.
They want to start their life off right, and here I am. So, and I get a lot of families.
Okay.
And singles, so it's a big combination.
And are they mostly American based, or do you get people from like international people that want to come to America or go somewhere that use you?
We get everything, but it's mostly American based.
And on most of the vacations, are they within America or outside?
Oh, it's outside.
It's all outside.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit. You mentioned Vegano Italiano and your collaboration with them. Tell us a little bit about that collaboration and how that's working.
Well, we started a few years ago. I think I contacted Gretchen. The company's called Tierno Tours, because she had a small group with Jason Wyrick, who is a vegan chef. And I noticed, I don't know how I found them, but I found them online. And so I emailed her and I said, I'd love to work with you. And she said, sure. And I ended up sending a couple clients on her trips. And then we started talking and collaborating and figuring out how we could do a bigger thing. And then I had a well-known, Colleen Patrick Goudreau, who wanted to go to Italy with us and take her followers with her. And we did that for a couple of years. And it kind of took off from there. Then we decided to also grow and have a month-long of weekly vegetarian trips in July last year with different headlining people like Jasmine Singer, our Hen House girls.
Yeah.
We had Jasmine and Marianne one week. Along with Jason Wyrick, and then one week we had Dr. Ruby Lathan and Carolyn Scott Hamilton of the Healthy Voyagers. And Dr. Ruby is she's a nutritionist, and, she had her own following. We would pair them up together. So we had 2 special guests on these trips. And then we had one week Miyoko Shinner and Matt Frazier of the No Meat Athlete. And you know who Miyoko Shinner is, right?
Yeah, I interviewed her recently.
Right. I heard it. I mean, who doesn't in the vegan world know who she is?
Exactly.
Although I'm surprised when I go to the Veg Fest, they're like, "Who is she?" I'm like, "Okay, go to the supermarket right now and get it, because that's the only vegan cheese I eat."
Absolutely.
And then our last week was with Fran Costigan. She's the queen of the vegan desserts. So it worked out really well, and we decided to do it again this year. And this year we have Juliana Hever of the Plant-Based Dietitian. And then we have Miyoko again in September, and then we have Fran Costigan in October.
Fantastic.
And we decided to expand a little bit with the vegan group tours. We're going to Dominican Republic in December. There's a place that I've been booking for years. It's not a vegan place, but they're going to do a vegan menu for us. And it's called Natura Cabana in Dominican Republic. And then in February, we're looking to do Puerto Rico. And one of the reasons why we're looking to do that was last year Puerto Rico is finally coming around. They had their first vegan festival last year.
Oh, nice.
And we're hoping it's going to be on the same weekend that we're going to be there. So we're going to do that. It's over the Valentine's Day weekend, so it's a great way, to spend with your loved ones. And then the new big one that we're going to do, and we're still doing Italy, by the way. We'll be doing Italy next year as well. But the new big one that we're adding on that I'm really excited about is Peru in May.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the next May. Okay.
Yes, next May, not this May.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's cool. Oh,
right.
That's amazing. So it sounds like the vegan, I know you've been doing this for a long time, but it kind of sounds like the vegan travel sector is growing.
It is.
More and more people are becoming more interested in it, because I know like a lot of the media coverage, a lot of it's about food, but it's actually interesting, like hearing you talk about this and these collaborations. It really sounds like this is a growing sector, which is wonderful.
Yes, so. It's growing by incredible leaps and bounds. In fact, it grew so much in the 90s when I was doing this as a travel agent working somewhere that I had to go off on my own.
Right. All right. Fantastic. Now, so you've worked for a travel agent, you've had a job, and then you've started your own business. For those people who aspire to running their own business and running it on ethical vegan principles, what would you say, Donna, are the key things that they need to take into account before making that jump from employment to self-employed?
They've got to have the drive. Because if you don't have the drive, you're not going to do it. There's sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any more juice in me. And then I find it, or I go away somewhere and then I get that juice again. You really need to educate yourself. You have to start with going into a travel agency, I have to say, or going into a travel school. A lot of people think that they can just do it. Some people are yoga instructors and they think, well, I can just do it and they, and get a group of people. And it's not that easy. It takes time to put these group tours together. Even if it's a couple, with a couple, it takes like at least 3 months to put something together. Sometimes I can do a last minute thing and it works, but it takes months to put all these people together. But if you've got group tours that you want to do, I recommend anybody who's like a yoga instructor or a podcaster, somebody who's got a big following, is to go through either a tour company or to go through a travel agent like ourselves. It's a lot of work to do. You need to know what you're doing. You've got to have insurance. You've got to have liability waivers to sign. There's a lot of legal stuff you've got to get set up. So you need to be well aware of all that and educate yourself on it. But the easiest way to do it is to go through a tour company or a travel agent and not have that worry. If that's
Sure.
what you want to do. If you want to become a travel agent, then I would recommend that you put yourself through school or intern yourself at a travel agency. There are travel agencies such as myself that will take in interns to do things.
Oh, okay. And I think that's a really good, because I think something like travel, people tend to think, oh, it's really glamorous. And they think, oh, yeah, I'd like to do this and that. And they underestimate, like you say, the work that's involved and the organizing and the contacts and all the rest of it.
And,
so, yeah.
And honestly, when I have interns come in, I don't have them book my clients. I have them do all the behind the ground stuff first. And then if they qualify, I can then start having them talk to my clients.
Right.
But that's not usually the case. They usually get bored by the time, because they think, oh, it's going to be this glamorous thing. And it's not always. Now, I have an intern who doesn't do bookings for me, but, I do give her perks when I can. She's my one who does the newsletters, and she helps me at a couple of festivals. She hasn't done it in a few years, but I'm going to get her back here into DC, hopefully this fall. And she's really good at talking with my people. And, I give her perks when I can, but, she's not an agent where she books anything.
Right. Got it. And so in let's final sort of questions around mindset, because like you say, you've got to have that drive and passion. And obviously running your own business, it can really stretch you and push you out of your comfort zone. What qualities do you think are essential to staying the course and running a successful business?
What qualities do I didn't hear that one word.
What qualities do you think are essential for staying the course and running a business?
Well, you have to be a people person. You have to be able to talk to people, and if things go awry, you have to be able to apologize and to work with them and make sure things go right. Otherwise, you're going to lose your clients. And you just, again, you have to have that drive to do it. And I love sending people to a place they've never been to, and they'll remember forever. It's my drive that keeps me going.
And when you say your drive, because you've been doing it a long time, and I mean, sometimes doing the same thing over and over again, it can get a bit monotonous. So what do you think keeps your drive? Like, how diverse is what you do? Has your role kind of shifted? I'm just wondering how you kind of keep interested in what you're doing over a very long period of time.
I just like traveling. That's my whole thing. So I figure if I like it, they're going to like it. One of my specialties, and that's off the vegan market part, is Ireland. Although I do send a lot of vegans to Ireland. I love Ireland. I've been there at least a half a dozen times. I need to go back there this year. Every time I go there, it gives me that drive to push it even more. I guess I think that's where I was going with that. Traveling is what keeps me going. And seeing the different countries and meeting different people in different countries. That's what keeps me going. And, making sure that they have the same experience I've had in those areas.
All right, for sure. And then bringing it all together, I guess, under the ethical umbrella.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. I can hear the passion in your voice when you were talking about it. It's great. So what specific steps or techniques do you use to ensure you've got a strong mental and emotional well-being? Because as she says, things can go awry, they can go wrong, and you can get a bit stressed out, and, running your own business, there's lots to do. So anything you particularly do yourself to ensure that you have a good, strong emotional well-being?
Travel.
Travel is.
It is, even though I went to this festival this weekend, I was out of my zip code, and we worked a lot, but you know what we got to do? We got to go to a friend of mine's favorite vegan restaurant in New York, which is just sushi. Or Beyond Sushi, excuse me, not just sushi. Beyond Sushi. I don't know if you've heard of this place.
I think I have, yes. I haven't been there, but I have heard of it.
And that was like my mini vacation. That was like, oh my God, this place is supposed to be the best. And it was. It was one of the best restaurants I've ever been to in New York. And it's just a little dive. It's not a dive. It's just this little tiny place. And it wasn't crowded. And it's all vegan sushi. And they were all done in such different ways that I've never seen before. So that was my little mini vacation.
Fantastic.
So you have
your
to
actual
do
job.
Yeah. So you have to do mini vacations. Also, what I like doing, which drives my husband crazy when we go away, I like going into hotels and telling them I'm a travel agent, which I am, and asking to see the hotel rooms. It's like an artist who has to go see all the other artworks. I have to go see all the other hotels.
Fantastic. And what have been the key lessons that you've learned? Because you've been in this business a long time now. What would you say have been the key lessons you've learned through running your business, whether that's personal things you learned about yourself or professional or both?
Well, I realized how much I like to travel, and I'm not traveling enough. So that's one of the key personal things I've learned about myself, that I'm looking at all these travel bloggers and I'm trying to figure out, how are they doing this and being able to afford to do this? But they're young, so they do it on a budget, and they can do that, which I would love to do again.
Sure. And anything else, like things you've learned just through running an actual business? Has there been any key lessons you've learned?
It's not,
any additional ones?
Yeah, it's not easy. And you need to get a lot of help. You need to get a lot of help with you. You need to get the background support. That's really key. Right, for sure. Excellent. And finally, what's your long-term vision for yourself and for Green Earth Travel? Well, I'm never retiring, because I'm not, you know how long I've been in the business. So, because I work from home, so there's no reason for me to retire. You work from home. Okay. Yes, I do work from home. Right. So there's no reason for me to retire. And that would be my long term, and just to keep it going. I'd love to see it grow. I'd love to see somebody help take this over and take it to the next level and make it into a vegan Expedia or a vegan Orbitz. I would love to see that. Fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Donna. You've shared some great tips there, and I'm very excited to see this particular sector, vegan travel, expand. And I think you're obviously playing a big part in that. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you. So that was Donna Zeigfinger from Green Earth Travel. You can find out more at greenearthtravel.com. And that link is on the show notes page at veganbusinessmedia.com/podcasts. Now for our vegan business news roundup. Manhattan now has its first permanent vegan clothing store, with the opening of a flagship store by pioneering vegan label Vought. Founder Leanne Maley-Hilgart moved her retail storefront from Brooklyn to the Lower East Side and celebrated the opening weekend recently. The new store will feature the company's signature wool-free coats, a new swimwear line, and vegan snacks at the in-store cafe. She told Veg News, being in this neighbourhood with all the beautiful stores, restaurants and hotels means people will come and check out cruelty-free fashion and maybe realise that what you eat and what you wear makes a difference. It's fantastic to see this vegan brand continuing to grow and make the case for compassion in fashion. So as well as all the new vegan eateries I've reported on in previous episodes of Vegan Business Talk and put on my list to visit, Vought is definitely a top priority as well for my next trip to New York. My original hometown, London in the UK, has a new vegan grocery store. Fat Gay Vegan broke the news earlier this week about Green Bay, which is located in West Kensington's North End Road, just a few doors away from one of my favourite vegan restaurants, 222. Green Bay's shelves are stocked full of a range of products, including chocolate, plant milks, cheeses, bread, fresh fruit, vegetables, ice cream, personal care products, toilet rolls, cleaning and laundry products, flour, baking ingredients, pet food, and much more. You can check out the company's social media for full details and opening hours. Adverts for lamb and other meat in Australia are not having as much impact as they used to as Australians embrace vegetarianism and veganism, reports B&T. The publication for the advertising and marketing industries cited research carried out by Roy Morgan that found 11% of the population is vegetarian, and in New South Wales alone, the number of people eschewing meat has risen to 30%.
Now, these ads are typically some of the most talked about in ad land. In fact, I used to be the sub-editor many years ago at B&T, and I hated it when the lamb ads won awards. So I'm really pleased that Australians are waking up to the cruelty, negative health aspects and environmental devastation caused by animal agriculture, and are not being fooled by the meat industry's advertising. Treeline Tree Nut Cheese is rolling out its cashew-based products nationally in Kroger stores across the US, reports Food Navigator. Instead of having to chase the retailer, Kroger approached Treeline, noting it as a premium brand that was performing well and that fit with its strategy of stocking more artisanal brands. Starting with 1,400 stores, the dairy-free product will eventually be in all 2,500 stores. Where to put vegan cheeses in stores can be a quandary for the manufacturers. Some believe they should be featured alongside dairy cheeses, while others argue for their placement in a dedicated plant-based section. Founder Michael Schwartz told Food Navigator that Treeline's products are faring better outside of the dairy section with other dairy-free cheeses. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because like in my local supermarket here in Sydney, Australia, one brand of vegan cheese is included in the dairy section. And whenever I'm looking for it, I feel guilty and wonder if I'll be spotted by someone who knows me and they'll think I'm buying dairy cheese. But regardless of where it's located, it's brilliant to see vegan cheeses performing well and being sought out by retailers. Finally, there's even more good news on the vegan cheese front. Miyoko's Kitchen is continuing its fast growth as it rolls out expansion plans to a new, larger property in Petaluma, Sonoma County in California, reports North Bay Business Journal. The award-winning artisanal vegan cheesemaker has been operating in an 8,000 square foot premises in Fairfax since late 2014. But due to massive sales, the company has quickly outgrown the space and is set to move to a 30,000 square foot property in Petaluma next year, bringing around 40 to 45 jobs to the area. The company is spearheaded by longtime entrepreneur Miyoko Shina, who was my guest on an earlier episode of Vegan Business Talk, and is backed by notable investors including Twitter co-founder Evan Williams and Tofurky's Seth Tibbett. Sales in 2015 passed the $1 million mark and have grown 400% to more than $6 million so far this year. The number of staff has also grown from 4 since the company launched in 2014 to 40. I'm so happy to hear this. Miyoko's Kitchen has taken vegan dairy alternatives to a new level. The nut-based cheeses are absolutely delicious, and Miyoko herself is so inspiring. She's an ethical vegan with decades of experience running businesses, and I'm thrilled that her latest venture is doing incredibly well. Do check out my interview with Miyoko, as her business journey is fascinating and she offers up a heap of excellent tips. So that's it for this episode of Vegan Business Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please consider giving it a review and a rating on iTunes or any other platform you're listening on. I'm Katrina Fox from veganbusinessmedia.com, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.